This is the Contax T3, a Japanese-made point-and-shoot camera first released in 2001. Amongst the lightest film cameras around, it weighs in at only 260 grams and is really compact as well, coming in at just about 10.5 centimeters long, 6.2 centimeters tall, and 3 centimeters thick. Here's just how big it is compared to a roll of film, a deck of cards, my main point-and-shoot camera, the Ricoh GR1, full review on this live on the channel, a Leica MP, a Canon DSLR, and a Pentax 6-7. It comes in a titanium finish that looks like a warm silver, and it's smooth and matte, and it isn't glossy or prone to fingerprints. On the front of the camera is the Contax logo engraved into the surface of the finish, and you'll also find a built-in flash, an AF assist lamp, the viewfinder, and the focusing mechanism. And you'll also see the lens that this camera uses, a Zeiss Sonnar 35mm f2.8 lens with a T-Star multi-coating. At the top of the camera is where you'll find the main controls. First, the dial to switch on the camera, and when set to P, the camera decides what aperture and shutter speed to use. And the shutter speeds go up to the fastest of 1/1200th of a second, which is not something you'll usually see in cameras. On the same dial, you'll be able to manually set the aperture values from f2.8 to f16, and if you do that, then the camera will only determine what shutter speed to use. On the left of that is the shutter button and an autofocus lock button, and a plus and minus wheel to navigate the LCD menu. In the middle, you'll find the Contax T3 text, very lightly engraved into the camera, and on the left, the LCD menu that shows you your exposure count along with your modes. Unlike the Contax T2, instead of having physical dials and knobs, with the T3, everything is set up within the menu. When you cycle through the menu button, you'll first see the exposure compensation, then a self-timer mode, a long exposure setting, where you're able to set shutter times between 1 and 180 seconds, and the focusing mode to switch between manual focus and autofocus. And there's also a flash button which allows you to set the flash to automatic, red eye, no flash, and always on. One thing about the flash is that no matter what you set it to, when you switch on and off the camera, it will always revert to a default setting. So for example, if you want to always have your flash switched off, you'll need to press and hold the flash button until it begins blinking. Then you can save a new default. After that, when you switch off and on the camera, it will then revert to your saved setting. To manually set focus, you'll need to go into your AF mode by pressing the mode button 4 times. Then you'll need to turn the tiny plus or minus wheel to set your focus. And it goes from 0.4 meters up to infinity with some distances in between. But again, when you switch off and on your camera, it will revert to autofocus. If you want to set the camera to always stay on manual focus, even when the camera is switched off, you can set that up using a custom function mode. And to do that, check out page 50 of the manual. At the back of the camera, you'll find the viewfinder with a black surround and a small window to show you what film you're using. And at the side of the camera is the battery door, and on the bottom, you'll find a film rewind button and a country of origin text, along with its serial number. And you'll also see a tripod screw and 4 electrical points to use an external flash bracket. Now these days, this camera is really pricey, and it goes for anywhere between 50 and 100% more than the price of a Contax T2. In the hands, it doesn't seem to feel as weighty and dense as the T2, and something about it doesn't feel as nice. I already do have a hands-on look on the Contax T2 already out on the channel, so check that out, but I'm also in the midst of completing a direct hands-on comparison between these two cameras. So if that is something you're interested in, subscribe and stay tuned. And yeah, that was the Contax T3. Jeremy here, and I'll see you in the next video.